Hey guys, I'm Balding Chris,
And I'm Balding Mike.
and welcome back to this week's The Baldcast. No Limits, the Thriller Podcast. How you doing today, Mike?
All right, you had to hit me with that comment to start us off, but all right, let's let that one go. Although, if we try to finish this series by Tom Wood with all the other series we have going on, we might be completely bald by the time we get caught up.
I want you to go back and look at our hairlines from when we started this podcast and see like how far they've tracked up.
Hey, ChatGPT, analyze our hairlines over the last 6 years.
That'd be a funny thing to do. Yeah. No, the killer, Tom Wood. Let's kick it off, man. This is a good one.
Something new. I feel like in 2025, our shtick was starting debut books and almost expanding too much. And while we said we wanted to scale that back, we have a very passionate patron dedicated to this series, Adam K. We got to shout out Adam. He's part of our Thriller Pod book club. And thanks to him and how he's always giving us updates on the Victor the Assassin series, saying it's right up there with Mitch Rapp in his opinion. And we had to jump in. One, as a thank you to him and all of our patrons. It was a great recommendation. And I am just curious, when a series gets praised is that good, we got to check it out, especially from someone we trust like him. So shout out to Adam and the rest of the patron book club. If you want to join this group, it's an elite group of Thriller fans. And we meet quarterly, have virtual hangouts. We do a book of the month. And then we also have an ongoing 24/7 group chat. So if you want to be a part of that, be the reason that we can make more podcasts, just visit thrillerpod.com, click the book club tab to learn more. And another way to help, subscribe on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel where you could see these balding heads every week talking books. So please head over there, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't seen us on video yet, consider switching on over to YouTube so you can join the fun.
Yeah, no, this was a nice little change up, you know.
Sure.
We're also in the midst of reading a hard copy of Brad and Ward Larson's Cold Zero, and so had time to mix this one in, and I'm always excited to start a new series, debut book from an author or debut book in a series, and right off the bat, you had kind of said something, and when you said it, it completely 100% clicked for me. This book read like it had that Vince Flynn-esque, I don't want to say like not noir, but just like that Flynnian tone to it.
Sure.
But at the same time, it had a lot of elements of the Gray Man. So it was like if Vince and the Gray Man, if Mitch and the Gray Man had like a baby, like and put it out as an initial book, this is what this book would be.
If they had a Russian baby.
Yeah, a Russian
Victor.
baby.
Victor the Assassin.
Oh, so that's the question. Is he Russian?
Is he? We don't. Well, yeah, true. He has a good friend in Russia, Normov, which we're going to get into. But to give you a little spoiler-filled hot take first reaction, I'm right with you, Chris. It's some parts equally as ridiculous and fun as the Gray Man, like very low believability. But then other parts of the wet work and what an operative is doing and thinking and head on a swivel in the streets, always getting the drop on people. It's straight up real life Mitch Rapp, like dark, gritty, in the boots, doing the things on the ground. It almost has elements of both of those series, the equal parts ridiculous, equal parts real world, real operatives, real tactics. So I don't know what to make of this besides I call it perfectly average. It's everything you want in a thriller, from the amazing set action pieces, the really deep nuke on the loose, essentially, plot line. Also some really, I would say really good villains who are also, in true Vince Flynn style, inside of our own government and our own intelligence apparatus. So you get a little bit
in a while. So it was nice to go back to that.
It is. You get a little bit of that double agent feel, a conspiracy, a cabal, again, also very Flynnian, very Thor. So it's hitting on all of those elements. And the writing is very, very clean and concise. But when you put it all together and you're just working through the book, it's average. But it's average in a really good, down home kind of way. It's just like what we typically like in a thriller done really well. How much of it is super memorable? I'm not so sure. Does it do enough to make me want to read all 20 books in the series? Also not so sure. but I'm definitely curious to maybe skip around and hear what the heavy hitters are later in the series.
Yeah, average to me almost it's correct, but it almost sounds like a dig. I guess a better word would be solid. Like it's a solid starting book. You know,
Sure.
I think it definitely did enough for me to make me want to pick up the next book. And if it's like all these other series where you get more out of it if you read them in order, but you don't necessarily have to. I 100% agree. Like I would love if people could pick out their top, their Memorial Days, their Consent to Kill version
Right.
of whatever this series is. Give that to me and let's dive into that. But at the same time, like you said, there's nothing that like super, super stuck out to me, but it was a fun ride while I was on it.
Yeah.
I wasn't disappointed. There's been times where I've read books where it's like, why did I read that? I definitely did not feel that way for this one at all.
No, completely. And it's before we get into spoilers, but folks, there are a couple of set action pieces that are incredible. The one to
Yes.
open this book and then the one to kind of wrap up the book, Tanzania. I just think both of those are really amazing bookends. And for Tom Wood to come out swinging, it's almost as if the scene in Consent to Kill where Mitch Rapp was at his peak and went ham at the house in Leesburg. I think the single scene where he killed the most amount of guys, I don't know, 15 maybe, something like that. We see Victor the Assassin going that nuts right out the jump, like chapter 1. He's doing some of the most insane badass stuff. Sniper v sniper, outclassing dudes. So if that doesn't tease you to know exactly what those two scenes are, you need to read them. And I said I'm not sure what's memorable. I think those action pieces would be. I'm already thinking to the scorecard. Action is absolutely the strength, I would say, of this book. So those two set action pieces, even a car chase in Tanzania, a hand-to-hand combat fight in the surf, that was an incredible ride. So for all the quibbles I'm going to have with some of the plotting, some of the pacing, some of the storyline development, I cannot critique this for action. I'm just going to say right now it's a 10 out of 10 on action.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. And I think the other thing that highlights well is the espionage bit of it in
Sure.
terms of the plot. Like, I feel like Tom Wood does a really good job of, adding that Le Carre-esque story to Victor. We don't get very much of a backstory about him. That's like
No.
the one thing that's like kind of lacking in this.
It's
you
a
think
teaser,
there's like
though.
sure. And I feel like, he left that open to not bog down the story. The story did not need any more in it. But definitely a teaser. Obviously, hopefully that gets played out through the next couple books or through the whole series, whatever. But yeah, I felt like the way he works and all the different espionage pieces, how he's operating as a spy and an operator, definitely 100% gets that correct.
Yeah. He's leaving caches in places, weapons, passports, documents. I think that's brilliantly done. And they do save his bacon a few times. So I think the backstory, knowing who he is, how he got trained in these skills, we kind of see him in the middle of his career. He's taken a lot of jobs in the past, we know, for various people that were mentioned. He has contacts, strolling into St. Petersburg and looking for dudes that he thought were friends. All of those, I think, are really good teases that you're right. I think I would take that back. I think I would want to read the second. I definitely would want to read the second. And then after that, maybe skip around. But great series. And there's another thing I have to bring up. So we got to drop the spoiler warning. So full episode coming, full spoilers from here on out. The girl. I really enjoyed The Broker. And what a tease in the first third. We don't know exactly who he's working for. He doesn't even know who gave him the contracts. It's like a double blind, he's totally isolated from that information. He just gets the name, gets the file, makes the kill, completes the mission. And to find out that it's this woman and that they have a pretty good bond. And when he's teasing her out, I just thought their meet was really incredible. These two people who have worked so closely, been responsible for each other in many ways, like kept each other alive by executing missions and communicating them and keeping this dance going, actually coming face to face was really cool to see. It almost reminded me of something out of like a Bourne and,
Oh yeah,
trying to get information about who's running you, who's working you, who's feeding you intel and like put the memories together. and he has to test her. And I think it was really on thin ice when he's like going to kill her if she says the wrong thing a couple of times. She makes the wrong moves. He's like ready to end her right then and there. And they realize they need each other. I thought their relationship developing was a lot of fun. And then it ended.
Yeah, I was really disappointed with that. And first of all, it's a bold choice.
It is.
And I 100% thought, okay, he's setting her up. Like they're going to become a team. Like she's going to become his Marcus,
she's around.
Scott Coleman. Like she's around. Whoever you want to say, like future books going forward,
they fall for each other. Yeah,
or that. And I actually thought that the character development with her, like I was buying into her as a good character going forward. Like I thought, that would be a good foil. Obviously, she's a good analyst, operative, not quite wet work, but can do the computer stuff, behind the scenes stuff. She's been able,
stuff.
She's able to pose, falsely pose as a bank to get information. Like she could definitely do grifting and stuff like that. And then to get that 100% pulled out from under you with that kill, fuck, man, you put in all that work and then boom. It was like you said. That was a shock to me. That was a shock.
It raised the stakes. Yeah, it was a shock to me, and I think it came at a point of the book where I needed a little wake up call. Another reason is because this Reed character, which got to talk about how he's introduced. It's a little quibble, like I said before, I'm going to have, but the fact that we just raised the stakes of now it's personal. So thinking Mitch Rapp with Stan Hurley never make it personal. It's personal, and we learn at the end, right, when he finds out this proctor person who he calls the administrator in the hospital is going to hire him. One of his conditions is he wants to know about her. And he shares some information about her and he says, I want everything on her. He wants to kind of honor her memory. So it definitely made it personal. I also wonder if it's going to have an effect downstream in the series of, is he going to be a different type of killer now? Is it going to almost temper him to say there are things in life that might matter more than just executing these missions? Like, I thought I found somebody who I could trust, or does it make him go, or does it make him go the other way and just go hog and become an even more indiscriminate killer? I feel like it might temper him a little, but and kind of see the humanity in people that she might have brought to him. I don't know though. So that I think both her introduction and her death are two things I really liked about the book, and that could have potential consequences in future books, and I think really are going to probably change who he is and be part of his arc moving forward. Even though she's gone, I think she's going to play an important role in his arc, book 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and I guess it says something to, all right, you maybe set up this plan of like, I could completely see that, all right, she's in book 2, and then she gets killed off in book 3. Like, but here he made the choice of like, all right, I'm just going to do it. I have one shot writing this book. Boom. Let's get her out of the way and then establish that revenge factor, that like you said, turn of conscience, turn of motivation for him. It was an interesting choice. Very bold. Very bold.
I think if that's the good guys though, both Victor and the woman are handled very, very well. Curious your thoughts on the bad guys, the cabal, whether it's on the inside at the highest level like Ferguson and Sykes completely selling out, and this old timer spy in Ferguson, but then also the bad guys with the hired guns, and particularly Reed, because he becomes the big bad in the second half, I would say. Were you fully satisfied with them and their interactions?
No.
Yeah.
For me, I think one, I don't know why we were told that Sykes and Ferguson were the bad guys so early.
Right.
I mean, that's another conscious choice. I felt that could have been dragged out for much longer. That could have been the big drop at the end, right? So we were let in pretty early. Like, we had way more knowledge about the story than our protagonist did. The other thing is like this Reed character, it's kind of setting it up to be, like a lot of other series we've dealt with where there's, an equivalent assassin that meets his match.
Yep. Louis Gould. We're bringing in Louis.
Sure. But I felt like the story didn't. It's like one too many things.
It was
right?
Forced. Yeah.
I understand you need to have this whole cleanup thing, but kind of bringing it back to Bourne, that was a storyline of the second, in Bourne Supremacy. Like you're kind of trying to put all your baskets into one. Again, like,
Yeah.
hey, I have this one book, I have all these ideas, I'm put them all in. Again, I don't know the story about like how he got into this, what Tom Wood did before this, but to me, it felt like there was more meat on the bone for a lot of these various storylines that you could have fleshed out through the course of multiple books, and it just got wrapped up into this one.
Yeah.
I felt like that the Russian connection of it was engaging enough in terms of, bringing in this SVR agent, or is he SVR? Or is he? I forget which GRU. He's SVR, right?
I thought SVR, yeah.
Bringing in him, his element, having Spetsnaz. He is trying to rise the ranks. He's able to like get his quote unquote only friend to like turn on him.
Yep.
I felt like that was enough, of a motivation to have, that. And then you didn't have to then throw in this other ultimate killer, like equivalent assassin in the Reed character.
Yeah, Reed's introduction just seemed forced. And it's almost why I kind of go back to Perfectly Average, because he's just pulling on so many tropes. And the trope of, well, I guess we got to call in the big guns, and I know a guy and he's going to clean up all your mess. So it's just like, we've already tried hiring killer after killer after killer. Why wasn't this guy just assigned the job in the first place? It was almost just too much like, I know a guy. Let me call in my guy. Without the backstory of who is this guy? Why should we trust this guy? And then here's the other trope, which kind of bothered me. To establish his bona fides, and I'm kind of sick that I'm of seeing this trope everywhere. He's just randomly walking through like a gritty part of town, and thugs come up on him, and he's just got to tell the thugs like, today's not your day, or like, no, you're not going to want to do that, bad move, and then just knock out these thugs. And there's no reason for it. It was like a little side scene, whatever. It was one of the first times we actually see Reed. I just don't need a guy to be established by just some random street thugs come up to them and he just knocks them all out. And the whole purpose to me is just to say, see, look, he really is a badass. We're calling him in because we already know he's a badass. Like Ferguson told us that. We don't need a random street fight. That serves no purpose. So just a minor kind of debut book, I think, trope that he's leaning a little too heavy into occasionally.
And he perfectly executes these assassinations in terms of like cleaning up the list. And then he inevitably like, does the ultimate sin and doesn't follow up on his mission when he's time to, thinks that he kills Victor. Like,
exactly.
That to me, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You're trying to both have this guy be the ultimate villain, but then
Yep.
also at the same time, in the same book, he just happens to mess up and not get our killer.
Amateur move.
Yeah, like, I don't know. That was just a little too forced. Like that whole, the explosion scene, like at him rigging the thing, like was cool and all, but it didn't make sense.
Don't set him up as the guy if you're going to have him walk away from that op and go, I'm confident I killed him. And meanwhile, the guy gets away. You're right. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Now, what does kind of bring Reed back is his death. The hand-to-hand scene after the craziness of Tanzania and the car chase.
The car chase was insane.
The car chase was wild and really fun. And for that to end up with that hand-to-hand combat in the surf with the knife, and Victor's like using a t-shirt wrapped around his forearm to defend blows over and over and over, and this thing's just getting dragged out, ultimately gets the drop on him, kills him right there, gets the knife, the ceramic blade. I think Reed's final wrap-up was really incredible, but not much else was handled very well with him. But the flip side is I kind of liked Ferguson and Sykes. I like this old-timey spy who's selling out. He has his protege who is making a few missteps, and he's got to direct him and keep him in check, and he's freaking out. And Ferguson is trying to keep this cool head of like being above all this. Why he sold out, maybe we could have put a little bit more effort into. So while I kind of liked them, we moved away from them in lieu of the Russia plot. And the Russia plot, I actually really liked in the beginning when Victor has to go meet Normov and ask him for a favor. And like, I'm trying to parse out if these guys really were friends, it seems like they were business acquaintances, and so while they trust each other, they don't have that deep personal kinship with each other, and that ultimately is what screws Victor.
Well, in that, and I really like that the scene where, you know, Normov is supposed to meet up and give him the goods, and Victor, you know, plans the whole drop, executes it perfectly by setting up as a sniper and
As Overwatch.
sees, you know, as Overwatch, sees people there. That's very Bourne.
He knows he sold
right?
them out. Yeah, it's great.
Straight
So
a scene out of
Bourne.
one of the Bourne movies.
Yep.
You know, we have that. It's great, and then it kind of like it was also kind of like this comedy of errors where just so happens the Spetsnaz show up at the same they all staying at the same hotel, and we get this like kickoff of, you know, we have these other corrupt former SEALs. We have Sykes is there. We have the Alvarez, the guy who's investigating, shows up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like all that stuff was like cool, like in terms of like the culmination of like the action and then leading into the car chase. But it got to be just like a little too much.
It was too much, and that's when we're starting to muddy the waters. So while the introduction of the Russia stuff was good, his escape ultimately after he realizes Normov sold him out, turned on him, also pretty good. How they all end up in Tanzania, where Sykes just all of a sudden like gets, I'm just going to call them nukes, gets the missiles and like has this intel, is loading them on a truck. Wait, someone's there to stop him, a team of Russians. Oh, wait. Alvarez is on their trail. Alvarez has to fight a dude. And so the truck's getting away. Alvarez is fighting a guy. Meanwhile, Victor and Reed are both hightailing it out of there, fighting each other with a chase. It was like a really cool, nonstop edge of your seat scene. But it's almost like, why are all these people here? And like, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. So it went a little off the rails, but as just a pure thrill ride, it checked every box. So that's one of those things. Action, I'm going very, very high. But plot and buy-in, I have to be like, this is just a little too much. This is a little too over the top.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I don't know, for some reason the Ferguson and Sykes stuff just didn't
land
for me. I don't know, maybe if it's like I wanted more of that. I wanted to be more in their head and, you know, have them driving it a little bit more. You know, and maybe that's a consequence of getting these, you know, we get both the Russian plot and their plot. You know, if we picked one or the other,
if you just had one.
Maybe one of them would have risen to the top and it would have been better. And then just to have, you know, like this guy, I don't know, their relationship was just like also super weird, like the Sykes and Ferguson of it all. Like this trust fund kid who is really just in it for the money, whereas the other guy has this deep rooted, you know, hatred of, you know, being essentially believing he was scorned and turned on by his country.
Yeah.
Which is believable, sure. But, you know, then the fact that the other guy wants to, you know, doesn't want the nukes being sold to North Korea, like, you know, but in the end, he ultimately goes with it because he knows he's either going to get killed or he gets the money. So,
and it's the highest bidder. Yeah. See, I'm okay with it in that career civil servant, bureaucrat, you know, basically the foot soldier, all of a sudden has this like harbored this resentment for so long, and so takes this dramatic step of like, I can go out with a bang, I can get people back for what they did to me, kind of this like bitter old timey person. And I feel like I've seen so many stories of that in the Cold War with like a random white dude who worked for whatever government agency just starts selling things to the Cubans, and it's like, why on earth are you the person who is selling things to the Cubans? And it's like they had this secret passionate zeal for Viva la Revolution or something, but they every day put on their suit and tie, went to work, collected the intelligence, did the thing, but they're secretly holding on to this world where they just want revenge or they want to change the world. So I guess we could have gotten more into Ferguson's psyche of what led him there, but also an opportunity for the future, perhaps some sort of backstory,
maybe.
Both Victor's origin, Ferguson and his, you know, problems that he has with his government. Yeah, it's almost half. It's at the same time it's half baked,
right?
But it's also half baked because we stuffed the oven with, you know, too many things for the Thanksgiving meal. You're trying to put the turkey in, the stuffing in, the sweet potatoes in. You're trying to put it all in the oven at once, and it's like, okay, because the temperature is so diluted and everything's kind of lukewarm. Again, that's why I come back to perfectly average, not in a very bad way, not in a ding kind of way, but you're doing everything right that kind of thrillers should do, but you're almost just checking boxes by doing them and making them entertaining because you're a really good writer. But are you a really honed in storyteller? And that I don't think I see Tom Wood getting there yet. And that's probably the clearest thing about this being a debut book. It's not a debut book because you write scenes that are confusing. It's not a debut book because you write storylines that have no impact and I don't care about. It's just that you're trying to do all the things you probably think you're supposed to in a first book and in a thriller book. And it's like, well, maybe pick and choose or just lean into the ones that you're passionate about or find the ones that are going to be unique to your voice. I don't know if this book establishes a Tom Wood voice for me or a Victor the Assassin voice.
Yeah.
So
it's like there's too much meat and sausage, like you're trying to stuff too much in the casing, and I feel like we've read books like this where they do the same thing, but because the writing isn't as good, it's even like it's that much worse.
It's worse. Yeah, exactly.
Like this book is saved by how well it's written and how well it, comes through to us. It's not confusing in that sense. But it could have done with like a little bit of editing in terms of like, all right, let's pick and choose, and then let's highlight those a little bit more, and then maybe those things would sing. So
yeah, little less is more, and then on top
less
of this,
is more. We didn't
even talk about these missiles, which apparently the Russians have this really incredible technology and are way ahead of us, and these missiles could wipe out our fleet without us being able to defend ourselves. Almost read to me like a nuke on the loose. Let's just go find them again. A little tropey. So maybe that worked for some people. Didn't quite work for me. So again, that's a kind of a plot miss, if you will. It became a side story. Like once he's digging up these missiles out of the ocean, it's like, oh, kind of forgot that was the whole purpose of everything. Like the flash drive. I forgot that was kind of the whole purpose. The flash drive and Ozil.
What the flash drive even meant. Yeah.
That almost got lost in the sauce. So, anything else on your mind before we scorecard this one?
No, I think let's get into the scorecard, man.
I gave my action, so I guess I just have to hear from you. You agree? I think I'd be okay with a 9 as well.
I think I'm going to go 9.
Yeah,
I'll leave a little bit of room for let's see what Tom Wood maybe can do. Blow me away with some action. In the future, like it's very good. This is definitely like the highlight of the book. And like you said, the thing that sticks out to me that's most memorable that I remember is definitely the open set piece in terms of like just establishing, Victor, how he's going to operate, what he can do, and then, getting these various, set action pieces throughout, and then culminating with that hand-to-hand combat at the very end, like lights out.
Completely agree. I think the one reason I'm also going to stick with the 10 out of 10 is I forgot the Swiss chalet. We kind of also got to see his abode where he kind of can hang out, decompress.
Oh, that was sick.
Chalet.
I even forgot about that. You throw in this other sniper. Yeah,
exactly. Yet another sniper after he just took out the previous sniper at the French hotel. So I really like how often sniping comes up, and then the Dragunov and in Russia, another sniping scene. I really like
you
how
didn't need Reed. You didn't need Reed.
Because that, one, you still don't need Reed, and two, maybe you cut the Swiss part as much as I liked it. It was cool. You either cut that or you cut one of the other things. It just added too much. Like I forgot it happened. But when it was happening, that was also a lot of fun to read. So I think for action, I'm going to stay with 10 out of 10 because I like that. I thought it was good. When it comes to the pacing of these things, a little too jam-packed. Let's start with plot because plot is also pacing. There's almost too many of them happening. I liked each individual one. I don't know if I see the through line all that much. And again, I don't like how it's just grounded in somebody wants to recover missiles and sell them. It just seemed like too easy of a storyline to put together. And I wasn't bought into that part of it. So plot, is 6 too harsh? Because I'm kind of leaning towards it.
That's a little hard. I was going to go 7,
but I made it up with 10
I mean, essentially we're the same, right? I'm so 9 and 7, 10 and 6. It's exactly same score, but yeah,
I could see it either way.
It's right there. So I think for buy-in, excuse me, I don't know. I think it's like average is like a perfect 3. Like
It's a perfect 3.
it's
Exactly.
it's
Could be a
not
2.5 if you want to go real average.
sure if you want to go real,
Could
like, be truly precise, but like it did enough for me that like again I'm bought into wanting to know more about Victor. I want to read more books, but in terms of truly getting me sold on like this story, being invested in like these nukes, in these various different bunch of different plots, just the cohesion there wasn't the cohesion wasn't there.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll round up to a 3 because of the broker. I'm interested in the backstory. I was interested in her and their meetup. So I think those little bits and pieces about Victor and his life, the Swiss chalet, I want to know like how he got that, how he set up. I want to know how he became an assassin. Like,
Right.
I
True.
want the American assassin of Victor, which is funny because there was a bad Victor.
There's a bad Victor. Too. I know every time I heard the name, I kept thinking about that.
Because I liked him so much and those elements of him, I'm going to round up to a 3.
Okay.
So I'm with you. This is all rolled into good guys and bad guys. We're a little higher on good guys. We're a little lower, it seems, on bad guys. Where are you going to settle on those two?
I think for good guys, do I go 5? Is that too high? Like, maybe just like action and suspense, I should leave a little bit of room for improvement. But I thought that one, it sets up Victor very well. I'm super intrigued by him, and I really like the girl. I like the broker.
Yeah. So can maybe the deciding factor, because I'm also leaning to around a 4. The deciding factor, if I go up or down, might be, how do you think of Chambers and Proctor and Alvarez were handled? Like, Chambers is the woman, kind of mid-level manager. Proctor's the top dog, aiming to be even higher top dog, taking over CIA. We kind of learn in the very end that he's actually a very self-absorbed, kind of power-hungry asshole. So that's like a little one of those also, oh, gotcha for the next book. And then all along, Alvarez is like the good guy trying to figure things out, but we're not sure if he was the good guy in the beginning. But ultimately, we come to learn he's actually trying to get on the heels of this cabal. I guess those 3 for me are the difference between a 4 going up or a 4 going down.
No, now that you bring those in, for sure. Proctor, I don't fully trust Proctor after this book.
You can't completely.
Alvarez, I liked. Like, I thought, like, but could you have cut him out the story?
You could have,
and it didn't make a difference.
He could have been gone completely, and it might have made it a better book. That's a problem.
It is a problem. Yeah. No, you're right. It's a 4. It's 4, staying a 4.
It's 4. Could be flirting with a 3.5, but
all right, 3.5. You want a 3.5?
Yeah, give me a 3.5. Yeah.
All right. What about bad guys?
Bad guys, I'll go same. I'll go no. I got to go 3. Yeah. I'm going bad guys. Reed, I didn't like it all. The thing is, I liked Ferguson and Sykes a little more than you, but I can't go any higher. So 3.
Yeah, like it's. I like the concept of Reed. Like, I like this idea of this ultimate assassin, but then in the end, like, it was kind of like a roller coaster with Reed. I was enjoying, like, while he was taking out these other people, didn't like the fact that he, fucked up and let him live, let Victor live with this, like, stupid plot. But then, like, coming back with the car chase and the action, his death at the band, like, kind of saved that. So,
sure.
Yeah. 3.
It's a 3. Yeah. Setting, man, we were doing some globe-trotting. We were doing some Brad Thor style, traveling heavy. Did I like that? Yeah, it was okay. I think the original European stuff definitely felt like, oh, we're doing something familiar, almost in a comforting way of like, sure. This series isn't going to be something totally out there, a swing and a miss, miss the mark. No, it was like, okay, this is like one of the classic spy thrillers I've read before. We're going to Paris, across the border to Germany and Switzerland. And I thought that part of it was a lot of fun. Russia, I thought was handled well too.
Yeah.
The way the building is described, Normov's like complex and how he gets into it. And then not to mention the bar fight.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Cool when he asks for Normov at the bar and these 2 like thugs corner him and he puts a knife through one of their ears in the bar and then wants to light them on fire, pouring vodka on them. Like, and this dude's ear is pinned to the
And
bar.
then lights the vodka, like
Yeah.
holds him down there until
Yeah.
like yeah.
Wild. I thought that was fun, and it felt very Russian. A lot of that. So good, not great. Tanzania then was also good, not great. But you know what? Here's what I think he gets credit for. I felt the shift. We were no longer in Europe. We were no longer in Russia. Tanzania felt like Tanzania. At one point, we went through the markets. The car chase went through a marketplace, and I felt that. So there was a market shift that made me feel like cold Siberia down to tropical East Africa. So I think that's some kudos right there. I'm gonna go 4.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say the same thing. I think like I felt like I was in the Europes over, and I felt transported to Russia, and then it ultimately felt, and even when we were back like stateside, like I felt that tonal shift. So yeah, it's a 4.
Yeah. Covers. I haven't seen any other alternate colors, but I do know the British publication calls this the Hunter, not even the Killer. So I'm assuming they're also going to have their different cover because we know how the Brits do covers.
All right, let me pull this up on Goodreads because you're missing.
Let's do some Goodreads. Show all 48 editions. Okay, I'm definitely seeing 2 main editions with 2 very different color schemes. Oh, and then they even have a cover C. All right, this is going to be interesting. This is feeling like Mitch Rapp with an A, a B, and a cover C. Which one did you have, by the way? Well, I guess we both did the audiobook. It had the red one.
Yeah.
Might have even had a different red one than this.
Yeah, we had like the Audible audio version with the guy looking through a scope,
looking down the site. Yep.
All right, I see a lot of different ones. Okay.
Let's go with the blue. We'll call the blue one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing, I don't know which one's English, which one's American. We'll go the blue one, the red one. You know which one cover C is, right? That German one.
The guy running in the
running
fields?
Man, exactly. Running in the fields. It's a typical cover C for our old Mitch Rapp pod listeners among us.
I really like the one that's like, I'm seeing it most often. It's the, floor of the CIA with the target. Yep. I like that one. Tom,
probably the best one.
Hinchelwood? Is that like his full name? I thought it was Tom Wood.
Oh, where do you see that?
It says The Killer by Tom Hinchelwood.
Oh, I'm not seeing that. Interesting. Maybe it is. That's definitely the best one, though. And that's similar to the Audible one. So I think this plus the audiobook one are in the same vein with the crosshairs running across the seal.
I mean, they're in Paris for like a little bit. Like the fact that like the other one has Paris, like the Seine, the guy's like lower face. It's all right.
A bit of a face problem, or dare I say it, a jaw problem. Excuse me, a chiseled jaw problem.
Chiseled jaw problem.
I don't know if I need that.
Oh, codename Tesseract. That's another.
Tesseract, yep. I can only give credit to that it has Paris because that played a really important role in the opening scene. I don't like how the blue cover, blue and yellow, is laid out. The face at the top, Paris on the bottom. It's got to be the British one. It has to be. It's so bad.
There's this interesting one where it's just a feather with blood.
I'm seeing the feather one. Yeah, maybe that's like D.
What's the feather?
I don't know the significance of the feather. And the feather's on ice, so maybe something in Russia? Bloody feather?
They set him up. He'll make them pay. A Victor novel. I like that. I like that they call it like a Victor novel.
No, I like that it's known as the Victor the Assassin series. Mm-hmm. I think that's a pretty cool tagline, Victor the Assassin. Yeah, the feather one I think is cool, very artsy. It actually could be a really good cover to sell in a bookstore. I just don't get it. I just really don't get it.
Palgamorov. It's like a guy in the rain about to execute somebody, a bald guy. Do you see that one?
No, let me keep looking. But cover C, the guy just running through a field
wheat
of
fields?
grain is ridiculous. Yeah. It's utterly ridiculous. Like, it's a 0. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go down this rabbit hole. Where do we end up with this? It's a little much. It's a little much.
I think it's a 3. It's a 3. It's a solid, like the main cover, whether it's excuse me, the Audible or the other, hardback, paperback that has the red scheme with the CIA crosshairs. That one's cool. So I you throw in the mix with some bad ones, I think it's a solid 3.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good cover, and the rest are so atrocious. I got to go 2.5. Let me steal back that other half a point.
Ooh, okay. Steal that other point. Okay. All right, who's your free space?
Oh, man. Couple of ways you can go. It's going to sound a little cheap, but my free space is kind of what's not addressed, which is I don't know if I would have been interested in the series if I had gotten more backstory on Victor. If I already knew who he was, where he came from, I probably wouldn't.
You like the intrigue.
Yeah, exactly. What jobs he's taken, what jobs the broker has given him. So his relationship with Normov, when he was encountering him, I was like, "Yo, is this dude gonna massacre him?" And then the hug, that typical like movie scene where the two people meet, stare each other down, and then all of a sudden break out into a big grin and a bear hug. I almost felt that way with him and Normov. So all those little nuggets I'm curious about. So I would say the shout is Tom Wood leaving us enough teasers, getting me really interested in knowing who this character is, what his life's been about.
Yeah, initially I was gonna say like my favorite scene is probably that Normov scene where they're meeting and like you don't quite know what's gonna happen. Like that one has like the most, who is this guy? Obviously he knows him. Is it his friend? Ultimately you find out that he turns on him. If I had to then go back to like other characters that stick out to me, really it's the broker. Like, and having that bold choice of killing her off after doing a lot of work to set her up, like, is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I thought for sure she's a character to come, whether or not he, begins to engage in a relationship with her, maybe not. Bold choice. We'll have to see, like, is that, like you said, is that a driving passion for him? Is that, a source of vengeance and how he's going to act moving forward? We'll have to see. So,
yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. Well, Adam, we did that one for you. Had a great time. It was well worth it. I don't know when we'll schedule book 2, but something I'd be willing to come back to after us saying in 2025 we started too many new debut series, and this year we wouldn't do that. I'm glad it was this one that we gave a try.
Yeah, for sure. So, for you, Adam. We do it for you.
For you.
All right, so what do you got?
What does this end up with?
I have a 38. Higher than I thought it was going to be.
Do you have a 37? Can you check the math for me, Mr. Dr. Chris? Half higher than you, 1 lower than you, 2 lower than you. Am I 36 or 37?
You're 37.
Oh, and then 9. You sure about that? Okay. 37 and 38. That's a little higher than I thought it would be, and I think we found some of the positives. So, satisfactory. Perfectly average.
Yeah. I think I was expecting it to be like right around that 35, like the 34, 35 range. So, found a couple more bonuses in there.
Yeah, considering we're coming off a Dead Ringer, which we also gave, mid-30 scores to, yet at the same time, I've been recommending it to people.
Sure.
I was really proud and happy to.
I would recommend this book to people too.
Yeah, I'd recommend this one too. I think these two are great examples of books in the mid-30s that aren't perfect, that are not going to be instant classics, that won't be the most memorable, but damn, they are worth your read. They're worth the $20 or whatever, for sure.
Yeah, 100% agree. All right, Mike, what are we covering next time?
Well, you said it in the beginning, Cold Zero is next on our to-be-read list. So the Brad Thor, Ward Larson team up. Always fun to talk to both of those guys. It's been a while since we talked to Ward. And another trend for 2026 on the co-authorship game. We did
Yeah.
Andrews and Wilson. We talked about Jack Carr and MP Woodward and their book, The Fourth Option, coming up. So it's just the year of co-authored books. So we get yet another duo, a little tag team to interview and hear about how the process went.
And this one's going to be turned into a series, a movie?
This is another one that they're talking film, and we know Brad's also doing. Isn't he also doing a Scot Harvath though?
I
TV
thought that
series?
was in the works. Yeah.
I thought that was in the work, and then they come out and say this one's going to be a film. I don't know. I think that's something I'm still wondering about. So,
all right. Well,
we'll see.
You'll hear our interview with them, and then you'll hear our breakdown of the book. Once so go out, pre-order that. Make sure you get it. In the meantime, let's thank our patrons. Got to thank our Deputy Director, Sherry F. and Brad E., our special agents, Adam, who we read this book for, Mike, Ben, Daryl, George, Matt, Don, and Chris. You can subscribe, rate, and review to all 3 seasons of No Limits. Please check us out on thrillerpod.com, Twitter and Instagram at Thriller Podcast. Go subscribe to us on YouTube. You could watch us. I don't know why you want to watch 2 bald guys, but apparently there's some traction there. So go check that out.
It's what the people come for.
It's what the people come for.
The bald guys and the limericks.
Oh, let's hear it. Let's hear it, Mike.
Before you sign us off, let me hit you with this one. Victor the assassin, that is his trade, in shadows and aliases carefully played, with a shot clean and fast, targets vanished outclassed, a debut book, his skills on full display.
Boom, baby. That's a good one.
Thank you, sir.
Solid. I should say that one is solid.
Perfectly average.
Perfectly average.
Like our airline for late 30s.
Fun times. All right, you want to play us off?
Well, just like always, let Victor be Victor.